Does God exist? Is that the question of the day?
Yes, it is, Jacob. Let us answer. God exists for several reasons. These are some important reasons why we believe that God exists. Let's look in the Bible. First of all, Genesis 1, verse 27. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them. We know God exists because we know certain things are morally good. Some things are morally evil. We know, for instance, that genocide, the Holocaust, what Adolf Hitler did was morally evil, unless you do not believe in absolutes, which is a self-refuting statement. As Jason Lisle says, Dr. Jason Lisle, he says that two reasons why God exists, because of the moral argument and the laws of logic. By saying that there are no absolutes, you are making an absolute assumption, you are making an absolute statement, and so there is no such thing as relativism, there is no such thing as subjective truth. There's only one truth. For instance, 1 plus 1 is always 2. Doesn't matter if you go to different countries, it's always the same. 1 plus 1 equals 2.
Yeah, and so another way that we can look at and see whether or not God exists is we can look at certain scientific laws that we know about. So there's one thing called the first law of thermodynamics, and that kind of suggests that energy can't be created or destroyed, it can only be conserved. And then we have the law of causality, which kind of says anything that there's an effect, that means there's got to be a cause. And so therefore, if the universe begins, if it begins from somewhere, it's got to have a cause. And that cause is God, the creator. Now, a question many people would probably bring up is, well, what if the universe is eternal? But because of the second law of thermodynamics, we can understand that this isn't plausible. So the second law of thermodynamics suggests that usable energy runs out. So the amount of usable energy in the universe is slowly deteriorating. So things go from order to disorder in essence. So we have a set amount of energy that's usable in the universe now. So if the universe was eternal, by now the energy would have already run out. And to suggest that we have an infinite amount of energy in the past just doesn't seem to make sense. Another point to refer to refute the idea that the universe is eternal is the Einstein's theory of general relativity, which suggests that the universe did in fact have a beginning. And so to reference these things, I would like to mention Psalm 19 verse 1, which says, "The heavens declare the glory of God, the firmament shows your handiwork." And so this is basically saying how if we look at the stuff around us, how God's creation, this demonstrates that there is a creator. So creation requires a creator. Something cannot come from nothing.
I just want to add another Bible verse, Psalm 8 verse 3. David is saying that when I consider thy heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars which you have ordained. Just this act of uniformity, as Jason Lisle continues another argument. The way in which we perceive the world, we see this natural order, as Brother Jacob was saying. We know that there are different laws, as you were saying, the law of thermodynamics. That's how science operates, on fixed things that we can measure. That if there is no God, it'll be all random, there'll be nothing. We will be up to chance. But as there is a God, there is such a thing as law of uniformity. Anything else to add?
No, I think we've covered the grounds, and because God exists, we're morally accountable to him, and God has written his law on our hearts, and we're all sinners, we've broken God's law. But then there's good news, and we'll discuss that next time. Thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching. Amen. That's great. Next episode, how about what's the gospel then?
Yeah, that seems to...
Yeah, that looks good.
Yeah.